Welcome to Sisters Café, where powerful conversations inspire women to become the best version of themselves and win together. Today, we are honored to sit down with a powerhouse leader, corporate strategist, motivational speaker, and global leadership wellness expert, Dr. Sundra Ryce. With more than 30 years in corporate leadership, Dr. Ryce has helped organizations like the U.S. Department of Energy, the U.S. Postal Service, U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, TD Jakes Enterprise, and Fortune 100 companies navigate disruption, maximize results, and build resilient leaders. Today, we're talking about leadership, wellness, and winning in every season. Grab your cup, ladies, and meet me at the table.
Just call me, I'll be there. It don't matter, just say where. I'll be right by your side through everything, alright. Just stay cool, I'll come through to pray for, encourage, and uplift you. When my sister wins, I win. When my sister wins, I win. At the Sisters Cafe.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to this segment of Sisters Cafe. I'm your host, Gladys B, and we are here with an exciting guest. Women's History Month is the month of March, and so we like to highlight all the amazing, fantabulous women that the Lord has created here at Sisters Cafe. And this interview is no different. But before we start, make sure that you follow me on all these social media platforms. Make sure you like and follow the Sisters Cafe YouTube channel. Catch me every Wednesday at noon for Woman Crush Wednesday on Power Influence Radio, and every night on our own channel at Daily Faith Network. Y'all, we a whole channel on Daily Faith Network. If you haven't, go over to the website and check out everything we have going on. But right now, I am going to introduce you to my special guest here at the cafe, Dr. Sundra Ryce. Yay! Hi, how are you today?
I am happy. How are you doing?
I am doing super great. So, the first and most important question at the cafe is, what's in your cup?
Oh, what's in my cup, Miss Gladys, is delicious peach tea, my favorite.
Ooh,
With a
peach
little
tea.
bit, yes, with a little bit of honey, a little slice of lemon, and also a little dab of peppermint.
Ooh, now that sounds like a good mixture. Speaking of peach, we stopped at Cracker Barrel and they have this new strawberry peach lemonade. And I'm not a lemonade fan, but I was a fan yesterday. I
Mm,
went through 3 glasses just like that. And then I
it
said,
sounds
just bring me some water.
delicious.
It was ridiculous. So I've read your bio. I've read up on you. I mean, wow is what I have to say about you, ma'am.
Thank
Um,
you.
but this is the cafe, so we're transparent, we're real, we keep it real, even though that's more like a cliche, but we're transparent over here because the goal here is when my sister wins, I win. So before the titles and before the global speaking engagements, who is Sundra at the core?
I love that because I am Sundra before anything else. Bottom
Right.
line. And I love how you said earlier when we were talking, I am the woman who God made, who was born into this earth for such a time as this, to do my assignment and the commissioning of empowering and equipping high capacity individuals and leaders for what they are up to next, for self-actualization, for flourishing, human flourishing, and winning. And I love what you do about winning, because I mean, people know this about me. When I teach or when I'm working with organizations or high-level leaders, one of my most prominent statements is that when the tide rises, we all need to rise. All boats need to rise. And when that tide rises, and also the other part is win-win or no deal. So even when I, work with people or work with teams, work in organizations, work with individuals, it has to be a win-win or it's no deal for me.
That's profound. Even though you might not feel like it might be something you just said, it really is, because a lot of times we don't feel that we can even be in a win-win situation. As women, and I'm talking about women because we're women, but as women, I think we settle for a lot of things, or we say, well, at least it's not this. So we take it as a win, but it's not really a win. How can we develop a mindset of win-win or no deal?
I think that's great. It is a mindset. And it is because culture tells us so many things as women. And I know we're celebrating Women's History Month, March 2026. I can't believe the time is gone. I can't believe the first quarter is almost ended already. But I think one of the things that we focus on or should focus on is mindset, is understanding, who we are. I do a lot of work around mental sovereignty. And that is really understanding who you are, the power of who you are, and the ability to speak what needs that you have so that you can make sure they're fulfilled. And I think that's very important when we're talking about winning, because we are the asset. We are the ones who are going to go into the world and do all of these amazing things. And, whether it's in education or entertainment or politics, whatever that looks like for us, or family, we are the ones who are going to make an indelible print on society.
I agree with that 100%. If I can back up a little bit, what inspired your passion for leadership in the first place?
Well, actually, I think my inspiration came from my parents, because my parents were both entrepreneurs. And also, my mom is a PhD, so she really worked with a lot of people. Actually, what she worked with is a lot of women. And she worked for Roswell Park, and she had a whole program around Black and Latino women and making sure that they were empowered in terms of, breast cancer, because that was really, really big. It's still big, but it was really, really big when she was coming. It was a need. And, just seeing my parents help so many people, that really pushed me into this, place of working with people, helping leaders, helping high capacity individuals, high impact people to really be supported. A part of my work is, the premise of my work is who takes care of the leader or the high impact individual or the organization that takes care of everybody else.
That's super needed. And I'm saying super because I couldn't think of a better word, but that's extremely, extremely important. And being raised by a pastor, a leader, and being around leaders. Not only that, my job wise, I've always been the pastor's aide or the executive assistant or the administrative assistant. So I've always catered to leaders. So I've had inside track, not just relationship wise, family or church, but also at work with leaders and what they go through. And there really isn't anybody who generally takes care of the leader.
Yeah.
And we weren't taught, and I'm saying we, because now I'm even putting myself in that, we weren't taught to take care of ourselves.
Yes.
And I'm not going to get ahead of that because I got questions for you for that. But at what moment You work for major federal agencies and Fortune 500 companies. At what moment did you realize this was global? It had a global impact, what you were doing.
I think I realized it when, after I was really going in, I was a corporate leader and am a corporate leader, but so many doors are opening for me to go and speak to universities, do commencements, and speak in various countries because people wanted to know about empowerment. They wanted to know, how do I stay equipped? How do I continue flourishing while I'm going to the top or making it to the top? Because we never want to get to the top, the proverbial top of the mountain, and we are not whole. And so, and how that triggered in my life is that I was once the burned out leader. And I saw so many of my colleagues who were burned out and all that good stuff, like, that that, can take us down, dealing with traumas and really as leaders, not having a safe space to talk about those things and process those things. And so I began to then see that need in the world globally.
Mm-hmm.
And I began to create programming around that. After I got my doctorate, which is in organizational leadership, one of the things that I focused on, even in my dissertation, is really about self-care for leaders. How and in what ways do we care for ourselves? Because that was not a big thing in academia and academic research. That was a missing piece. So when I did my dissertation, and the purpose of it is to add to the world, it really focused on leaders and how we can cultivate the extraordinary, and how we can care for ourselves, and how we can, make sure that while we're leading and we're leading organizations and leading teams, that we are also healthy and we have a safe place.
Okay. And then, so after 30 years, 29, 30 years of corporate leadership, what leadership lessons changed you the most?
I think for me, it's really looking at, being self-aware and having emotional intelligence, because that is what we call the sine qua non of leadership, the essential ingredient. And so when I began to look at, how am I empathetic? What am I contributing to the world? How am I making an impact? I began to look at, I began to see my own leadership lessons, because, I could look at what have I done? What do I need to strategize to do so that I could continue making an impact on the world and impact on leaders, which is, my calling. And so I think one of my greatest leadership lessons was learning how my empathy and emotional intelligence, how my empathy could be a blind spot. And because it's great in business, but as a leader, the person, like you talked about, the actual person, Sundra, that empathy got the best of me, because people prey on empathetic people, and they can be smart, wonderful, beautiful, gorgeous, but they prey on empathetic people because empathetic people are usually a stand. They're usually a stand. They're going to stand with you. They're going to make sure that you're, that you have what you need. They're going to make sure that you're supported. So it's really good to have an empathetic person in your life. Now, I have a leadership structure that I deal with, a theory that I've created, and it's really about, it's a 4-pillar system about leadership. And the first pillar is the leader, the person. And so in my leadership lessons, I've learned to really look at my blind spots and really look at how and in what ways I can make sure that I am healthy as a leader and not, blinded by, things that do work for me in the area of business and leadership.
I like that you use the word blind spots, because that's exactly what they are. Many leaders today, and that's any leader. So I don't even want to just say corporate,
Right.
spiritual, any leaders. That could be the mom, the single mom. Leaders in general are highly successful, but extremely exhausted.
Yes.
Why is leadership wellness becoming, and I don't want to say becoming because it's been around. We've seen people I hate to say it that way, but we've seen people take their lives due to stress
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
not taking care of themselves, or they don't see another way out. And the only thought that they had for relief is
Yeah.
death. And that's scary.
Every Wednesday, we celebrate her. Powerful women, real stories, major inspiration. Don't miss Woman Crush Wednesday at Sisters Café.
Squad called, they need this. Cafe swag. Grab some for you and your bestie, because when your sister wins, you win. Grab the swag at sisterscafeinc.com.
Why is wellness for leadership becoming so critical right now?
You know, it's becoming critical. I actually started this work about 12 years ago. And when I started and working on this dissertation and doing research about this, one of the things that I realized, I was actually, I think, before my time, because just a few years later, we hit COVID. And what happened during that time is it changed the world. It changed the world view about people caring for themselves, people, within their organizations, quality of life. It actually became what we call the Great Resignation. People were really resigned. They were like, well, let me take a step back. Let me look at,
Right.
really, what am I giving to my job now? Or what am I giving to other people now? And so people were started showing up really resigned. And with that, I think the great thing about that is people began really showing up in this last 5 years, looking at how and in what ways can I make sure that I am healthy, that I am well, and that I have longevity and stability. So I think that the timing of what's happening, and then what's happening in the world globally, in economics and politics, though all of those things are mind bearing on people these days, with their families, with their 401ks, and all of everything that can be shaken and affected, with the wars that are going on and different things. So one of the things that is truly key is making sure that we are whole, that we are well. And so leadership wellness has become a critical point in most people's lives at this point. And like you said, I love that. So I talk a lot around leaders, but I believe what you believe. Leaders are leaders. They are people who are called to lead something. So it may not be in corporations, because I deal with faith-based leaders, corporate leaders, people who are leading on an individual basis because they have their own businesses, families, entrepreneurship, family businesses. So leaders are leaders. And so right now, there is a big, big, big push and a big platform for wellness and well-being and self-care for, people who are, again, up to some big things in life.
For those who may not know that are listening, and for the people who are listening, if you know a leader, somebody, share and tag them right now. Share this with them, because this is important. This is important. And this is why we have the expert on here in the first place, so she can help us all. But what are the warning signs of leadership burnout? And before you answer, I'm gonna go ahead and put myself out there, because we at the cafe, it's what I do. We, and I'm saying we as women now, and leaders, and single moms, and business owners, and wives, we tend to shake off a lot of what our body is telling us. If we're hurting, we'll ignore it because, the kids have A, B, and C. If something doesn't feel right, we'll shake it off because, we have to get to work, or we have a client at 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
What does burnout look like?
Well, it's funny you asked. So I know a lot about burnout, because as I told you, I was once the burned out leader. And then I really help a lot of organizations and people deal with how to prevent burnout, and how do we include well-being in our lifestyles and in our work life. So one of the things that you will see is exhaustion. When I did my original dissertation, I did a study on burnout. So it was leadership burnout. It was, people burnout, and small businesses, businesses under 25 million was my target, but you can replicate the study to any population.
Mhm.
When you're in graduate school, you just have to graduate, as you know, because I know you're in graduate school now too. You just have to graduate. You have to, as one of my professors said, just make sure it's a good dissertation and it's a done dissertation. Okay, you save the
Right.
world later.
Right.
So
I agree.
yeah, and I know you know that from your journey, and congratulations, by the way, on your new
Thank
degree.
you.
But it's chronic. It could be physical exhaustion, and I want to say this, emotional exhaustion, because a lot of
Mhm.
times we're dealing with other people's traumas, not just our own. So it doubles down on our trauma. So from a psychology point of view, you are you have a double whammy there. It's also reduced performance. So you'll notice that your performance is changing, like because you're tired. Sometimes it's just that you're tired and you need to sleep. You need to rest. You need a mental break. You need to break away from whatever stressors are causing you this mental exhaustion. And again, like I said, so many things are going on in the world right now. So there's so many hits that we get, as people who are working and doing high impact things. There are so many hits that we get on a daily basis, on a weekly basis. And then the other thing is cynicism. And you can see that when I just talked about like what happened in COVID, there was what we call the great resignation. That's where a lot of people got really cynical. They were really resigned. They were really like, I'm stuck in a place here, and I'm not going to move forward because something's wrong and we need to get it right. So there's a lot of cynicism that shows up when you are dealing with symptoms of burnout. It's just like sometimes it's like you're neither here nor there, because when you're in burnout, you're also in transition. So it's about managing how and in what ways do we effectively manage transition so that again we can be healthy and whole, and we can be well and flourish while we're moving to the top. And one more thing, I'm doing a study now with Pepperdine University, a new study on human flourishing and quality of life for leaders. And I'm so excited about this study because I think that's another missing piece in where we are in this world today. How do we now maintain a great quality of life, and what does that look like, and how do we really embrace human flourishing and moving to actualization as we are on this journey? Because it's a journey, Gladys. This is a journey. It's every day. It's like you're getting ready to do something big. I won't say what it is, but it's something else. Every day is something else. It's something else that comes. You finish one thing, and then there's the other thing that comes right on the heels of that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yes. Is that good or bad?
That something comes right on the heels of something else?
Like,
is that what you're saying?
I guess what I'm asking is, I'm one of those people who feel like I always got to be doing something. And before I'm done with one thing, I'm already on to the next. And I don't think, let me not say I don't think, I don't give myself time to rest in it, to be still in it, to sit in it. Mm-hmm. It's almost like, okay, that's done. What's next? I'm sitting in this graduation thinking about the test I need to take. And I'm like, I kept telling myself, Gladys, be here, be in this moment. And I did eventually get in it. Yeah. And I'm like, wow, because after I sat there for a minute, I'm like, I'm here. I'm here. And as I was telling you before, I'm big on telling people to keep going. You're not too old. As long as you wake up and you have breath in your body, you have another opportunity to go for it.
Yes.
Everything might not line up. Do it afraid, do it broke, do it scared, do it old, do it young, do it tall, do it fat, do it skinny, just do it. And that's what I feel about this, because a lot of people thought I was ridiculous for going back to school 20 years later. But I'm like, no, that's never, my dream hasn't left my brain. I just had to pivot because I had 3 sons to take care of by myself. So yeah, no, after I got them secured and they're grown and they're flourishing and they have kids, because now I'm a grandma, I'm in love with that, by the way. But now it's my turn. It doesn't, my dreams didn't disappear just because I had to go around a bigger mountain. So I tell people, go for it. I'm sitting in a graduation with 21-year-olds as well as 80-year-olds.
Wow.
That was beautiful to me.
Yeah.
That was amazing. It just tells me, you know what, I can. The dream that I have, I can still get there. However, back to my question is, should we take a moment to sit in what we're doing, or is overlapping everything okay? Am I causing myself burnout?
Okay, that's a lot to unpack. That's like 3 shows, but I'm going to try and hit it high and hit it quick with an impact. Okay. So
Okay.
the answer is yes. The answer is yes. I deal a lot with the power of rest and what that looks like, cognitive rest. One of my greatest mentors, Dan Sullivan, has a time system that he taught us. He actually, he and his team coach high impact and entrepreneurs from all over the world. And he's been my mentor for many, many years. And he developed this time system of free days, focus days, and buffer days. And it's a time system that you can use in your life, but it gives you, for example, the free days. I'll just give you an example with that part. The free days actually give you a time period to allow your brain to rest so that you can have cognitive rest. Now, many people don't do this. When he told us this many years ago, like about free days, I think all of the entrepreneurs, who are up to big things, like we just like proverbially, fell on the floor like, what? But here's the thing, because people are not used to you taking time for yourself. They're not used to you. So even if you take a free day, the people in your life are not trained. So you have to train people in your life if you're going to take a free day, which he calls a 24-hour period. Where there are no business books, there's no, internet, and I'm writing things out and I'm doing briefs and I'm researching or whatever that looks like for you. But it's a period when your brain can totally rest. And the key is, you would be surprised if you even did that for 24 hours, which I want to put a call to action to your followers and listeners today. If you do that and you commit to something like that, you will be surprised at what will happen the next day. When you go back to life as usual, you will be surprised at the ideas, at the things that will come up regarding the things that you are, anticipating in life and the things that you're working on. You'll get answers, you'll get solutions, just because you've had a chance to give your brain a part in a time to rest, even 24 hours. Now, some people may not be able to do that. I hear you over the radio right now. I hear you screaming. I hear the screams. Maybe you can do it for 6 hours. I'm going to take a time. And again, you have to train people in your life. You have to tell them, I am taking a time of rest or of Sabbath. There's a woman that I talk about, and I love her work, Trisha Hershey. She's called the nap bishop. She talks about, the power of, like a Sabbath rest. Rest is Sabbath, I think, is the name of her book. But she really talks about how, taking that time to rest is really, really important for life, for leadership, and for well-being.
Wow.
So that's one part. Okay. So that's one part. Now let me unpack something else. That's one. The second thing is, you talked about, hey, I'm one of the reasons why I'm moving forward in, and progressing, which human development and progression is a part of life. So we're always going to be moving towards development because we're God created. We're God inspired. And a lot of times God gives us dreams when we are very, very young. He gives us dreams. So I often ask people now, when I talk about like engineering the incredible and helping them engineer the incredible in their lives, what was or is your God-sized dream, or that seismic dream that you had? Because when you have a dream, it is meant to happen. And that's why I love what you said. And sometimes it may be 20 years from the date, or 30 years. And that's actually not uncommon, because a lot of times a God-sized dream or a seismic dream is usually 20 to 25 years in the making. Because there's so many things that go into it. And people don't teach us that. We get like these dreams, and we get, like in ministry, and you get like a prophetic word, and you like, oh, it's going to happen today. And no, that can happen 25 years later, because there's so many things that are going to be involved, because it's such a seismic dream. So I think we need to pay attention to and still honor what we have, the dreams and the visions that we have when we are young. And because we're still working on those things. So yes, we need rest, but yes, we still need to honor where we are in terms of, bringing that dream into the earth.
Your squad called, they need this cafe swag. Grab the gear for you and your bestie, because when your sister wins, you win. Visit sisterscafeinc.com and rep the vibe everywhere.
When was the last time you recognized yourself? I lost myself trying to be everything for everyone. This book helps you discover who you are always meant to be. Available now.
Trip, plan your fun, or start your travel business. G-Class Travel does it all. Girls' trips, retreats, getaways, conferences. Let us handle the details while you enjoy the journey.
I think you kind of answered the question I'm going to ask you next.
Okay.
But what are 3 habits that leaders should adopt immediately to improve performance and well-being? And like I said, I think you just answered that with Mr. Sullivan's, was it free day, focus day?
Focus days and buffer days. So focus days are when you are focused on your work. This is only work. This is not buffer. A buffer day is when you're answering calls, answering emails, those things that take your mind away from bringing in bottom line results and bringing in bottom line profitability. So your focus days are only when you're dealing with, other leaders, other decision makers. And that's a key in Dan Sullivan's work too, when you're having this, type of time system, or you're implementing this type of time system. You want to make sure that when you're dealing on your focus days, that you're not dealing with the person I'm just going to say it like this, the bottom of the totem pole, but that you're dealing with decision makers, so that you can get decisions and you can move and you can stay focused and you can stay, on your journey for whatever that time is. And then again, the buffer days are when what we call clean up messes, answer emails, get back to people. And, the stuff you don't need to really think about, but you need to handle. So free days, focus days, and buffer days are part of Dan Sullivan's time system that I love and I use. I've been using it for years. And it really, really works. So I think that's one thing that you can do. The one thing is have some sort of time system, whether it's Dan Sullivan's time system or something that you've seen or you've been able to garner through your work or professionalism. The second thing I think, in terms of, making sure that you're healthy, that is taking that cognitive rest. Because that's going to lead to your mental sovereignty. When you're, I have this quote that I talk about, and I love this. And when people again are engineering the incredible, which is what I'm up to helping people do. One of the things that Vince Lombardi said, he's a great football coach, is he said, fatigue, will make fools of us all. It's like. Wow. I'll say it like this. One of my mentors says, when you're tired, everybody is stupid, So fatigue will make cowards of us all, is what, he said. And he would teach, Vince Lombardi would teach his players that, make sure you get the rest, make sure you get to eat. I know when I have some friends or, we're all grown up now, but who are in the NFL, actually playing in the NFL. And I remember they would actually have, before game days, they would not just be out partying. They are in a hotel. They have certain foods that they're eating. Those coaches are keeping those players together because they got to make sure they're not out all night partying, because they got to deliver when they get on that field. And so it's that same concept, and then, the third thing I would say, when you are engineering the incredible and you are, up to big things, to make sure that you have, a place like you understand who you are. I think a lot of times, like you said, we skip over ourselves, and you have to know who you are, why you are here, what you need, and also make sure there are provisions for what you need. One of the concepts theories that I look at and I teach on a lot is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And so there are certain basic needs that we need as individuals. There are also certain, psychological needs, things that our minds need. And then there's that, push to actualization. So I think understanding your needs and saying yes to making sure you have self-care around you and you are cared for, whatever that looks like, because, if you're not there, how can anybody else be there? You are the greatest asset.
Absolutely. Absolutely. When you just said that, I thought about, so I wrote the best version of me a couple years ago, and that's all it's about, being my best self. No longer people pleasing, no longer putting other people's needs before our own, because I was really bad at that. And I had to ask myself, why is what they need more important than what I need? Why? And at the end of the day, nobody is guaranteed to be with you other than you for the remainder of your life. Nobody's guaranteed. My kids aren't even guaranteed to be there, but I'm going to be with me everywhere I go. So why don't I take care of me? Why not make me smile? Why not make me happy? I spent a lot of years making other people happy, and then I go home and cry. And after a little bit about on 40, I think 40 on the nose, when I hit 40, I'm like, I'm not doing this anymore. Because after you pleased everyone, and then you're not pleasing them anymore, now they talk about you. So what was all that for? So I had to learn that being my best self and self-care was necessary. It wasn't selfish.
Not selfish.
I wasn't going to the doctor because I used all my sick days to make sure my children went to the doctor. So now at 40, when I decide, let's take care of me, I have some irreversible things I can't do. Because I kept shaking it off. As long as I can move and breathe, I'm going to get up and do what I got to do. And the only time you caught me in the hospital is baby number 1, 2, and 3. That's it.
Yeah. It's time out for that. It's time out for that. It's time out for that. That is not the lives that they're living. Those are not the lives that we're living anymore.
No.
And that is a part of culture, and culturally how, some of us grew up where we, have that burden of caring for people or taking care of people. But one of the things, that I like to talk about is I fly a lot. I travel a lot. And so, what they say on the plane is put your mask on first if something happens to this plane before you help anybody else. Okay. And they say that for a reason, because they know that in 15 seconds, if you don't put your mask on first and you're trying to help your child or your neighbor and you don't have a mask on, within 15 seconds, you'll both be unconscious if that cabin loses pressure. So I think that's a great metaphor to look at. Put your mask on first. And then I think biblically, because that's important, I like to look at biblical concepts as well. One of the things that the Bible talks about is, one of the greatest commandments is that you love your neighbor as yourself. But if you do not love yourself, or you are not clear on how you love yourself or taking care of yourself, how in the world will you be able to take care of your neighbor or your community? So there is a clear emphasis of taking care of yourself and self-care and the importance of that. And one more thing, I love what you said about you did this, this master work around you. A lot of people don't do that, even in leadership. One of my global coaching program right now, I do a 12-month global coaching program. And the cohort, one of their first assignments was create a you psychology and also a you philosophy. And these are high level leaders. They had so many issues. I was getting emails. What do you mean exactly? Because it's very confronting to look at yourself, right? And really create how do I think? How do I behave? how and in what ways do I operate in life? How do I show up for people and for myself? And so, that's one of the assignments, to create a you psychology and also a you philosophy. And with that, we look at what is your genius? Because again, you're doing all these amazing things and you're doing in the world and you don't even realize it. And I think that's sad.
When my last baby graduated, I moved away. And my mentor says, okay, now that that's over, kids are grown and you don't have them anymore. Give me a list of 10 things you want to do for you. And I was like, that's easy. And I got to writing and I sent it. He was like, no, think about it for a minute. Okay. So I wrote him again. And so we got on the phone and he said, not one of these things are for you.
Wow.
And I'm like, of course it is. I want to do this. And everything, even though it was my idea and something I wanted to do, the bottom line was generally for somebody else, mainly the children. And he said, I don't want none of that. Yes. What do you want for you? And do you know I was unable to do that? I think it was Steve Harvey that said, write down 300 things you want just for yourself. And I'm like, that's easy. I want a lot of stuff. And I start to write things. I think I got to like 20 and I was done.
That's aggressive.
I couldn't imagine wanting certain things. By the time I got to 20, I felt, oh my God, that's so selfish. Oh my gosh, how dare you want that? And why? Yes.
I think you're secretively in my course, and you didn't know, because the other major assignment that I do in the beginning of the work is tell the truth about what you want, because a lot of us lie. We lie. We say, like you said, what is it that you really want? And that's extremely confronting. It's extremely confronting to say, listen, this is what I really want. And so that's another question that we really look at. And, as a, person who is moving into, bigger territories, let's tell the truth about what you want. Let's not hide it, because the more you hide it, you're not going to get the support you need, because actually we don't do anything alone. Like you say, we all rise together. When you win, I win. So like even in my journey, I don't do my journey alone. There are several people who work with me, who assist me, who co-labor with me, who partner with me on my journey to deliver, what I deliver for leaders and high impact individuals. So, I think it's important to look at that as well.
We don't get awards for burnout. It's almost like we're trying to do so much, like we're going to get an award for who does the most. And I'm like, you don't get an award for that. That's not a reward at all. That's hospitalization. That's can't think straight. That's my body hurts. My appetite is gone. I'm irritable. I'm going to just knock my kids around. I'm just, you know what I mean? It's not a reward. It's not. Amen. And I I wrote down the 3 rules, but that 24-hour thing, that hit me, because I find myself in the middle of the night. As soon as I have a thought, I feel like I have to do that thought right then, because then it'll go away if I don't do it right then. So I'm steady in the morning. I'm in the middle of the night. I'm answering emails that I didn't get to that day. I'm trying to come up with another plan, or let's do another digital product, or, you know what I mean? Okay, let's ask the people another question. And it's like, it never turns off. Even if I say, you know what, I'm going to just sit here and watch this movie. My phone is going off. My watch is going off. I got my iPad going off. You know what I mean? I'm still me and Chat GPT. I'm going to just put in Chat GPT and put it down. You know what I mean? And it's steady.
Yeah.
I'm not resting. Yeah. And do you know people can find us everywhere?
They can find us everywhere and will. and there are certain people, again, who prey on people they know are a stand for them and who are empathetic and who will show up no matter what. There are people who will take advantage of that. That's why I said I have to watch my blind spot. And I think what you're talking about too is we're conditioned to do a lot of those things. We're conditioned to always work, and because life is different than it used to be 30 years ago, 40 years ago, when it was straight, like 9 to 5, and you worked for this big company for 30 years. It's not like that anymore. So people are a lot of times making their own way. They are, being innovative, and they're creating businesses, and they have, lots of responsibilities, lots of glass balls that they're juggling. But the key is, with that conditioning now, what are the tools that you can implement to make sure you have cognitive rest? Because rest, and I tell leaders this all the time, and people who are, again, doing great things in the world, rest is not like, it's not a, what do we say? Like, oh, this is a reward. No, it's a part of your leadership structure. It's a part of your individual structure. It has to be. And although it's not easy to rest, you have to build that in. You have to put the tools in there to make sure that you are getting that, because it is a part of your structure. It is a part of the structure of you being able to be successful and progressive. So you got to turn the phone off at times. You got to, just do a mental hiatus. You have to train people, though. You have to train people. I have one of my staff who, she's really good about this. Like at 6 o'clock, she's off, and she will tell you, like, I get put to the side, honey. At 6 o'clock, I'm done. But I love that she does that, because, she is really protective of her time. She gives, but she actually builds in her time system. This is going to be time for my family, for my husband, for everything that I need to get done, personally, to feed myself, to replenish myself, and whatever that looks like. And so that's just an idea of, something that, someone else does, but you can implement those types of things. And another thing about middle of the night, because a lot of times, like you said, our minds go, go, go. One of the things that, is something that I have to live by too, because I can be like that too, Gladys. I'm like, I got to do it. I have to, move. But when I get ideas, say it's in the middle of the night, one of the things I do is I know that my mind is not meant for memory. Pen and paper is. So I will keep a journal by my bed. And if I do get something that is major, I will just take a second and write it down, because you're right. You're scared. I won't remember this. But if you, throughout the day or whatever, however that's happening, if you're focused on one thing and you're getting these ideas, you don't have to switch and, let me do this. Write it down, have a system. It's all about systems. I'm an engineer by background. And so everything is about systems, and engineering the incredible is about systems.
Tip number 6 for week number 6 is create boundaries. We are such in the people pleasing mode that we don't know how to create boundaries, not understanding that boundaries equal peace. Believe it. Boundaries equal peace. Create your boundaries. Whatever that looks like for you, it's your boundary, and that's okay. They will either respect it or they don't. So often we get frustrated and we're mad and we're upset and we're exhausted, but we don't create boundaries to eliminate that. Understand that boundaries equal peace. And whatever boundaries you create, follow those boundaries as well. Because if I don't want you to call me after 5 p.m., I'm not going to call you after 5 p.m. But we must create boundaries. We live in a world that anybody and everybody can find us and contact us at any time. There's no shutdown, there's no stop, there's no quiet, there's no peace. We always on Facebook, we can't put down our phones, and we don't create boundaries because we allow everybody in, not just through the phone, but Facebook. We are allowing a lot of people in our personal lives just through posting. Just through posting. How many times, I know this is funny to me, but when somebody posts, please pray for me, don't ask. Just pray for me. And the first thing people want to know is, well, what's going on? Well, what's wrong? Now you're the topic of conversation because you asked for prayer, and it shouldn't be that. We should be a people who can just pray whether we know what's going on or not. Me personally, I don't want to know. Is that bad? I don't know if it's bad, but I don't want to know. I'd rather tell God to allow his will to be done. Let your will be done in this situation, whatever it may be. Because sometimes we tend to take on certain baggage that doesn't belong to us. And that's a whole nother tip, real talk. Do not take on other people's baggage. Let's be careful not to do that, because even then we're not creating boundaries for ourselves. People that we talk to, people that we're around, we allow their stuff to come into our lives and our headspace and our mental, and that's not creating a boundary. If people are used to tugging on you, because we're used to that. People need this, people want this, people want this. They, and it's sad because a lot of people don't really, sorry, bust your bubble, but people don't like you. They like what you do for them. Understand that. Because the minute you don't do, you're replaced. So that's too how you can find out whether, check your squad, right? Hashtag check your squad all day. That's how you can find out who's with you and who is not with you. Because the moment I stop doing what I do for you, you still rocking with me, or you ain't got no need for me no more. Find that out, because that's how you can find out who's with you and who's not. But a lot of people use people. And don't get me wrong, we all should benefit one another. I'm not gonna lie, we should benefit one another in some way. If you don't add to my life, why are you here? Why are you here? If I don't add to your life, then I need to remove myself from your life. I want to add. I want to be complementary to you in whatever relationship we have. If that's work, if that's church, if that's marriage, if that's friendship, whatever it may be, it should benefit. I have one strict boundary, and that is, well, I don't have one, I have a few, but the one big one is I don't answer the phone before church on Sunday, before church period, but more so on Sundays. A lot of times on my drive to church, I'm not going to answer the phone. I'm not. I am on my way to see the King. I am on my way to see the King, and I ain't feeling all that right now. I don't need to be upset. If it can be held, hold on till I get out of church, and then we'll talk about it. But I'm not going into church with my own stuff and then with your stuff as well. I don't need you to take me to a whole different mental space because of what you got going on right then. So we must create boundaries. We must create boundaries. And that way it keeps peace within you. And I'm glad you brought that up, because that was my next topic, because I've talked your ear off and I only got a few more minutes, but can you please tell us about engineering the incredible?
Absolutely. Engineering the incredible is a concept that I use around my work with amazing people and amazing organizations. And it's really looking at, different systems of how we can be successful in life, in business, and family, and what we're up to as whole people. Engineering the incredible is about human flourishing. It's about being able to stabilize and have stability as you are growing, developing, and evolving, because we will always be doing that as human beings. We will always be growing. We will always be developing. We will always be evolving. Just look at the world. The world is always growing. The world is always developing. The world is always evolving. So it's really putting systems around you and around your teams and in your organization to make sure that you are healthy, that you are wealthy, that you are wise, and that you have a great quality of life at the end of the day and beginning of the day.
How is it that we can register or be a part or learn the things that you're teaching us today? Is, first of all, it's amazing. I've written so many things down. I was trying not to look down, but I had to, because I'm like, I had to write it so I wouldn't forget it. But how do we stay connected so that we can learn what you have to give us? How can we register for your program?
Absolutely. So I have a few different programs coming up. I have a program coming up in Los Angeles April 25th, 24th and 25th. And it is in conjunction and in collaboration with my partnership with Pepperdine University. And we together do a leadership certificate development program. And it is a program about leadership mastery and well-being, personally, professionally, with your team. So this is a place where you can come individually, you can send your teams, and we are coming together for 2 days. It's a 2-day certificate program. So you actually receive a certificate from Pepperdine University after you come to our course, and you're there for the 2 days. It goes by very fast, but it is absolutely amazing. It is a safe place for people to come. It is a place of healing. It's a place of academic push. It's a place of empowerment. So that's coming up, and you can register. You can go to my website, www.drsundra.com, and that's SUNDRA.com. You can also go on our social media. It's Dr. Sundra Ryce. And you can see, you can click on, because we have different postings, so you can, find where we are and what we're doing. I also have a global group coaching program that I do. We meet once a month, and this is virtual. The California course is in person, so it's 2 days. So you got to fly to Los Angeles, but it's fabulous and it's wonderful. And again, you're in a great cohort and community of practice. But we also have a virtual program, and you can find out about that because we're still taking registration for that. We have a great cohort of leaders, and again, we meet once a month, and it's about leadership mastery and well-being for ourselves and for what we're up to in life. So you can also register for that program at www.drsundra.com. And then we'll be having more master classes coming up over the next few months, and just ways for you to actually get information and more information about engineering the incredible for your incredible life.
Actually, I will be in LA the 24th through the 27th, I think. So we're going to have to talk, because I'm going to have to get connected to you. I mean, although I have another engagement for those 3 days, but something's got to happen. I would really, really, really behoove the audience to register. Especially if you resonate with what you've heard today or some of the issues I'm having, I need to register myself. But this is important, and this is needed in the world. So one, thank you for seeing something that needed to be taken care of and taking care of that. I know it's still work. Things don't happen overnight, so people need to understand that. It's not going to happen overnight, people, but it will happen if you keep at it. You said, put yourself in the place of maximum potential. Set up environments to win. One of the things we are doing at this conference is teaching and showing everybody how to win in every portion and part of their life. How do we set up environments to win? How can we do that?
Well, first of all, they can do that by going to conferences like yours and like mine, and perhaps bringing me in to speak to your organization. That's another thing. I work with organizations as a consultant and an advisor. So if you know that your team needs work, actually make the investment, because there's truly an ROI. And another thing about our work is we're, when you look at, education programs that these are also often write-offs for the company as well as the individual, because they go under the IRS, what we call 5250. Did I say it? 5250? 5250 program. So that's the thing. Really look at investing in yourself and in your teams and in your organization. You know why? Because it's a worthy work, and you are a worthy work.
What would you say to the women listening today who knows that she is capable of more, but is afraid to step into leadership?
I would say what you just said, do it afraid. God didn't give you this idea. He didn't give you the support system, because what I know is that wherever God guides us, the provision is always there. So a lot of times what we need to do is get over ourselves, get over our fear and our pride, and look at how and in what ways will we make this happen. And I will tell you, I tell people this all the time, people are generous, and we're supposed to be doing things together. So a lot of times it's just like, you got to do what the Bible says, ask, and you will receive it. Ask and believe, and you will receive it. So I would say one of my favorite motivational quotes, and some of you have heard this before, is What would you attempt to do if you knew that you could not fail? You have to have a winning
Wow.
mindset. And when you have that winning mindset, failure is not an option. Not that it won't happen. You'll learn from things that you fall behind in, but let's look at that mindset of what would I attempt to do if I knew, ultimately I'm not going to fail, because ultimately I'm going to step into everything I'm supposed to step into and deliver it to this world so that it could be a better place.
And I like what you said, which is one of the big things I say is, and I didn't know it before, but I know now, is you have to invest in yourself.
Absolutely.
You have to. We will spend hundreds and hundreds on bundles of hair, but will not go
I
to
didn't
college.
expect you to say that. I thought you were going to say
I mean,
something.
we do.
That's a good one. I think that's why the work that we do is so important, Gladys, helping people win, helping sisters win, because actually this next 10 years is really set up to be the year for the Black and brown woman, to be more self-aware, to have more credibility. We're becoming more powerful, more empowering, more endearing. We are really that is supposed to be. So that's why I say it's a worthy work, because we are charged with educating people, especially our Black and brown women, about what life really is and what human flourishing really is, what a quality of life really is. And so, I think we need to continue doing the work that we do. And I want to say, God bless you for what you do. I'm excited. And I'm just so happy that we can connect, that we have connected so that we can continue doing this work in the world together.
Absolutely. But I thank you for your time. I thank you for spending a little time here at the cafe with me, having some tea. Share this on your platform.
We're here to support you.
You heard it here, folks. We'll see you again next time for another segment of Sisters Café.
When my sister wins, I win at the Sisters Café.